His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BBT founder Acharya, savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtottarishta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Nama Jai Rishla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya ki jai. Bhakti Devi Tulasi Maharani ki jai. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Patita Pavan Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadhish ki jai. Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkanath ki jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Text 26. So 26 doesn't have purport. I'll just recite it, and 28th we'll do it together. Sattvam chasya vinirбhinnam mahadishnu mupavishat chittenam shena yenaso vijnanam pratipadyate. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Thereafter, when his consciousness separately manifest, we'll do it 28, Maharaj. Yeah, because this verse doesn't have purport. We'll do it 28th. Yeah. Thereafter, when his consciousness separately manifested itself, the total energy, Mahat Tattva, entered with his conscious part. Thus the living entity is able to conceive specific knowledge. Shirshnosya dhordhaya padmyam khamnabhe rudapadyata gunanam vrittayo yeshu pratiyante suradayah. Thereafter, from the head of gigantic form, the heavenly planets were manifested, and from his legs the earthly planets, and from his abdomen the sky separately manifested themselves. Within them the demigods and others also were manifested in terms of the modes of material nature. So please repeat after me. Atyantikena satvena divam deva prapedire धरां रजः स्वभावेन पणयो ये चन्ता ननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजः स्वभावेन पनयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजः स्वभावेन पणयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवां देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पनयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवां देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पनयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पनयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवाः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पनयो ये च ताननु वैष्णवीस् आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवाः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पणयो ये च ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवः प्रपेदिरे धरां रजस्वभावेन पनयो ये न ताननु आत्यन्तिकेन excessive satvena by the mode of goodness divam in the higher planets devaha the demigods prapedire have been situated dharam on the earth rajaha the mode of passion swabhavena by nature panayaha the human being ye all those cha also tan there anu subordinate. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The demigods, qualified by the super excellent quality of the mode of goodness, are situated in the heavenly planets, whereas the human beings, because of their nature in the mode of passion, live on earth in company with their subordinates. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 15th, it is said that those who are highly developed in the mode of goodness are promoted to the higher heavenly planetary systems, and those who are overpowered by the mode of passion are situated in the middle planetary system, the earth and similar planets. But those who are surcharged with the mode of ignorance are degraded to the lower planetary systems or to the animal kingdom. The demigods are highly developed in the mode of goodness, and thus they are situated in the heavenly planets. Below human beings are the animals, although some of them mingle with human society. Cows, horses, dogs, etc., are habituated to living under the protection of human beings. The word Atyantikena is very significant in this verse. By development of the mode of goodness of material nature, one can become situated in the heavenly planets. But by excessive development of modes of passion and ignorance, the human being indulges in killing the animals who are meant to be protected by mankind. Persons who indulge in unnecessary animal killing have excessively developed in the modes of passion and ignorance and have no hope of advancing to the mode of goodness. They are destined to be degraded to lower status of life. The planetary systems are calculated as upper and lower in terms of classes of living entities who live there. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of devotees so that I can speak something glorifying Krishna for all of your pleasure and for my purification. So in this chapter, we are seeing that Maitreya is describing to Vidura how this creation takes place. So till last verse, actually, he describes how the Virata Rupa, through his different limbs, get activated. How each demigod, takes charge of particular function in the body of Virata Rupa. In today's verses, Prabhupada is mentioning that how from the head of gigantic form, the heavenly planets are manifested. From his legs, earthly planets, and his abdomen, the sky separately manifested themselves. So, this is again description of Virat Rupa, and then in this text 28, he is describing about the demigods qualified by the super excellent quality of mode of goodness are situated in heavenly planets, whereas the human beings, because of their nature, the mode of passion, live on the earth in company of their subordinates. So if we see, like in today we'll see like three things. First, the overview, how this verse fits in. Second, Prabhupada is speaking about different modes. How we'll see that if we are stringently bound in the modes, then how to transcend them. And third, for a devotee, if bhakti is beyond modes, do we have to really care about these modes? So we'll discuss these three things. So first, about this overall current verse. So see, Maitreya Muni is so systematic in describing. Initially, he described the how the Mahat Tattva and different elements they take place. Then he is describing the Virata Rupa and how in the intelligence is taken over by Brahma. So in the nostrils, Ashwini Kumaras they go. So like each part is describing it and mentioning how these different demigods they take charge of these different aspects of the body of Virata Rupa. Actually, even in earlier it is mentioned that this Virata Rupa is imaginary form, but why they describe in this particular way? The mountains are like bones of Virata Rupa, trees are like hairs, right? Because the conditioned living entity is very much accustomed to relate everything with what they see. So to facilitate their perception about Supreme Lord, the scriptures they describe this form of Virata Rupa. So it's easy to correlate basically. So in today's verse, is describing about how the heavenly planets come from the head and who lives there. The demigods, they live there. And again, it qualifies, why they live there? Because they are in mode of goodness. So Bhagavad Gita in 14th chapter in detail describes about these three modes of material nature, right? So here Prabhupada is emphasizing the word atyantikena, that means excessive. So one who has developed this mode of goodness, they become situated in the heavenly planets. So now the question comes, as a sadhaka, do we really have to consider these modes? Because we say that devotional service is beyond modes, right? So do I need to really care whether I am in mode of goodness, passion or ignorance? So yes, the intention of performing devotional service, maybe in beyond these modes, but the body with which we are practicing devotional service, it's under the mode which affects performance of our devotional service. I'll give two examples. So the definition of modes, it says that mode of goodness is characterized by feeling happy, being situated in knowledge, right? Mode of passion, it is characterized by excessive hankering, and mode of ignorance is characterized by Alasya, pramada, is like laziness, ignorance, madness, right? So again, this is just examples, nothing to anybody in person. So if I am a book distributor, I have a desire to distribute books because it's order of my spiritual master, and by that everybody will get benefit, including myself. This desire is in pure goodness. It's beyond goodness, like beyond the modes, transcendental. But now somebody may be himself, his body, because of his association, past activities, and he may be in goodness, so he'll think that, okay, let me do it in a way which is pleasing to Prabhupada. Let me do it in a way which is beneficial for others. I should not create a bad impression. So this is a devotee in mode of goodness, book distributor thinking. Now if somebody is in passion, he says, I want to be the #1 book distributor. Nobody should distribute books, beyond me. My name should be, in front, in bold, on top, maximum Lakshmi points, maximum book points. That is, he's doing devotional service, but is driven, by hankering. He has some desire for name fame. Now somebody may be in ignorance, he said, oh, he should not come first, I should come first. Let me lock the book room and let me hide the keys so that he doesn't get book only. This is performing devotional service in, again, ignorance. Another example, again, nothing personal. Many devotees want to be known as a good cook, right? So those in goodness, they are all performing devotional service. They want to cook best for Rukmini Dwarkadish, right? So the one in goodness, what he'll think? Let me cook to best of my ability so that Lord is happy, the devotees are happy. Full focus on, intention on, cooking. More than passion, let my cooking be better than other cooking. Last time he makes 16-inch cake, this time I'll make 21-inch cake. This is, the desire for, again, like, yeah, they are serving, but the intention is different. And third, in madness, oh, they are making, bhendi sabji today, I like it. He's thinking of, his own enjoyment. Of course, he knows I have to eat after Krishna, but parallelly he is thinking of what his likings are there, apart from Krishna's service. So this is ignorance. So we see that even though we want to perform devotional service, and even though devotional service is beyond modes, still the modes in which we are in, it affects its performance. So therefore, a devotee, needs to be striving to develop this mode of goodness so that he can improve the quality of his devotional service. Now Srila Prabhupada, he was, he's a pure devotee, right? But then once one South Indian scholar, he said, Prabhupada, the verses you recite, they have a very Bengalic, connotation, right? It's like they sound more of a Bengali, not like Sanskrit. Now, when Prabhupada was chanting these verses, it was pure devotional service beyond the modes. But since he was raised in the particular part of India, and since that was the language which he spoke from childhood, naturally it affected the way he pronounced it, right? So, this shows basically that therefore, the mode in which we are in, it does affect us actually. So therefore, we should, though the pure devotional service is beyond modes, still we should strive to cultivate the mode of goodness. And how to do that? Actually, Srila Prabhupada is given such a perfect formula. Following 4 regulative principle itself brings one to quite elevates one from this mode of ignorance and passion to goodness actually. Because as in this purport it says, excessive animal killing leads one to mode of passion and ignorance. And then they have to suffer. Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that, these guys will be born in such a place, there is no question of getting them delivered. Now this, today is 4th of July, right? Independence Day. So actually, everybody very happy, right? They firecracker and everything going on. Prabhupada in many morning walks and his talks, he has told that the real independence is, of course he told multiple things. First, declaring our dependence on Krishna, that is. Second, being freed from this stringent laws of this modes of material nature. Being freed from this ignorance, passion. And once you are in goodness, even being freed from goodness and actually, going into the pure goodness. So, devotee understand actually how to achieve the real independence. And Prabhupada has given us this, formula. So, a devotee, when he sees, like currently this vacation time going on, right? Everybody is out, that long weekend, all the national parks, everybody goes, right? So once when visited this Sukoya National Park, there are trees standing there for 1,000 years, they say, right? Now somebody may say, wow, great, wish, there are even some people, they say, wish I was like this. But a devotee in knowledge, he understands, it's a punishment. There is no one who is going to offer Maha water to that tree. There is no devotee who is chanting so that tree can hear and next life, get liberated. And this is just one forest. There are like so many national parks with thousands of acres, and there are so many trees, so many animals. Who are all they? This purport says that those who have been excessive in mode of passion and ignorance have been put in those situations. Now, of course, this is rectification, because they are not, getting rectified in human life, right? So, they have to go through that. But by seeing this, a devotee has like, kind of a two thoughts. One, wow, Krishna's nature is so amazing. But second, wow, there are so many living entities who had been trapped in this mode of passion and ignorance. I am fortunate. Let me make most of my situation. I have got a human life. I am not in Amazon forest. I am in a LA. I am in association of devotee. In LA, maybe like 4 or 5 million people, right? Very few, couple of hundreds are in temple, right? Who knows about Krishna? Let me take this process seriously. I don't want to glide down. Otherwise, some tree in national forest. So, Prabhupada's purport therefore tell us that if we are not careful, then we'll miss this human form of life and we'll be dragged to the lowest existence, again in the life. So, about these modes, again, that somebody may say that, but the modes are so strong, how can I get out? Because Krishna himself says, right, everybody is, bound by these 3 modes. Then, where is the chance? I have to act. I am kind of a puppet. But sit in our hand, we have to become puppet of ignorance, puppet of a passion, or puppet of a goodness. Like a cow. When the cow is bound by a rope, she cannot move beyond the length of that rope because it is tied. She cannot just go. So that is, she has a limitation. But within that circumference of that radius of, if we take that as a length, radius of that circle, she has unlimited freedom, right? How she wants to act. So same way, though we are bound by this material modes, we do have free will, which helps us to decide which mode we want to choose. And that's what, like, the whole association aspect of devotees, that way. Why we do that association? Why we hear? Why we read? Because we want to be in mode of goodness. We want our choices to get influenced by mode of goodness choices. How the people, they become drunkard? Initially somebody offers them one glass. They are not so. But then they associate with those who are elevated drunkards. And then slowly, by their association, Adho-shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Asadhu Sangha, they are not so, pure association. They indulge into that habit. So same way, we have to make our choice, we have to make conscious choices so that we develop this mode of goodness, so that we can practice devotional service in proper way. Again, like in 17th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says about divisions of faith and different people in different divisions, right? So even within goodness, like here it says that all the animals, they are in mode of ignorance. But even that, there are flavors. Like cow is considered to be in goodness. So she is in ignorance, but it's ignorance, goodness. Then the lion is considered to be in mode of passion. So ignorance, passion. And then donkey is like, ignorance, ignorance. Right? So same way, even within devotees, this is kind of a introspectory exercise for ourselves. We have to check, am I in goodness, goodness, or goodness, passion, or goodness, ignorance? Or to start with, whether I am in goodness, passion, or ignorance. From there we can start, and then we can go to subcategory. And then the scriptures also tell that though, yes, these modes are stringent, and Krishna says that, okay, those who are sinful, I'll put them in a place where they'll perpetuate their suffering. But Krishna is not hard-hearted. He has a plan for everybody. And until the last living entity is delivered, he'll keep creating material world. He'll keep taking, his form as a Mahavishnu, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, then, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and, he'll expand as Paramatma. He'll create all these elements. Why? He wants to deliver us. So, Haridas Thakur actually, when he was asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay, all the living entities are delivered by chanting this holy name, all the humans, what about the trees? So Haridas Thakur said, when the devotees, they chant, we hear echo. Actually, it's the trees who are chanting, and that's benefiting them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is such an merciful that anybody in connection with this process of Krishna consciousness, immediately, even if he's in animal life, he's promoted to the human life. So that way, bhakti is not dependent on the modes. Though the modes affect execution of devotional service itself is beyond modes, and it's not dependent. So there are many examples, like Gajendra, right? He was in animal body, so kind of mode of ignorance, right? He performed devotional service. Vrutrasur, he was a demon. Again, ignorance. He performed pure devotional service. So same way, the Srila Prabhupada was such a genius that he created this whole worldwide movement so that so many people are benefited left and right. For example, we had this, Srila Prabhupada Vyasasan being, we are installing in our Prabhupada garden, right? Now to move that, we need a crane. Now that crane fellow is somebody outsider who is completely, atheistic. We don't know, which guy is. Has nothing to give and take with, Krishna or Bhakti. But because he came and he helped in it, he's getting that Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti. He's getting those pious credits to perform devotional service, right? And that way he's getting benefited. Our devotees, they go for book distribution, Santa Monica Pier. They are coming to enjoy their senses, but they see book, they hear kirtan. They are, getting benefited. So this is the brilliance of Srila Prabhupada, that he created this movement so that more and more people can come to the mode of goodness. He gave us this lifestyle, he gave us the way we eat, prasadam and everything, so that we come to mode of goodness and we help ourselves as well as others. So to summarize, we saw that after describing the different senses of Virat Purusha, Maitreya Muni is now describing which planets are coming from which part of his body, and who stays there and why. So like in today's verse, it says that demigods, they stay in heavenly planets. Why? Because they are in mode of goodness. And also Prabhupada says that those who are in mode of passion and ignorance, they are an earthly planet, and they are kind of into lower species of life. So, and then we saw that how these three modes, they affect, though we are performing pure devotional service, though our intent is pure devotional service, the mode in which we are in, it affects that performance, and depending on that, the results should come. And we also saw that how though we are within these strict modes, still it is possible to develop mode of goodness by following the lifestyle, devotional lifestyle which Prabhupada gave, which elevates us to mode of goodness. And then we saw that how we can be really independent is by actually becoming Krishna conscious, so that we get completely freed from this stringent laws of these modes. So many times I used to think, why this Kulshekar Maharaj used to pray, right? Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjarantam adyaiva me vishatu manasa raja hamsa prana prayana samaye kafavat pitte kantavarodhana vidau smaranam kutaste. He wants to say that, oh Krishna, let the swan of my mind get entrapped into the stems of your lotus feet, and let me leave my body now. So I used to wonder why he is saying. But here again his answer, because these modes, okay, I may be in mode of goodness now, but after some time I may get into the passion and even to ignorance. The modes are always fighting to overpower each other. So that's why a devotee is saying, when I am in this pure consciousness, let me leave my body, so that why? I don't have to take another body. So with this prayer, we would like to stop. Any questions, comments? Okay, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.